Good morning. Today we're going to be changing the fork oil on a 2008 Triumph America, and the reasons for doing this is one, it was a used bike. Don't know how long the oil's been in there and what weight oil was used, and the other reason is it's very bouncy in the front or spongy and so on. So we're going to take it apart, have a look, and we're going to put a 15 weight oil in there as an experiment and see how it goes. Before we get started, I'll just run through the tools that you'll need, and then we'll get on with it. So you're going to need a Phillips head screwdriver to release the speedo cable, a 12mm socket for the brake caliper, 12mm socket for the mudguard support bracket and brace, a 5mm Allen key for these 4 bolts that hold the fender onto the bracket. You're going to need one of these. This is a 12mm Allen key. Go into your fork nut there. Now they can be pretty tight at times, those things, so I would strongly suggest that you get one of these, and because the last thing you want to do is burr that recess in there, and then you're going to be in a world of hurt trying to get that off. As I said, they're pretty tight. You're going to need this. You're also going to need a 6mm and an 8mm in the same style of tool as this. The 6mm for your Allen key bolts there that clamp your axle. Now the correct way to undo this is you undo that first, and then you release these 4 bolts here and remove your axle. That's once you've removed your mudguard and your caliper and speedo cable. The 8mm Allen key is in there on both sides. This one's a 6mm in your top triple clamp there. And also you're going to need one of these. A 22mm stepped ring spanner, and that'll be for your fork caps here. Now I suggest that you crack those first before you release your triple clamps. Just get them started, and then once you get the fork legs out, you can remove it the rest of the way. And when you're taking these off, once you've got the forks out and you're taking this nut off, hold on to the fork here. Don't rest it on the ground, because you're putting pressure on it, and once that nut comes all the way off, oil's going to squirt out everywhere. So if you hold it up off the ground by the top of the fork leg there, whilst you undo that nut, and then you'll be able to tip your oil straight into a bucket of some sort. So first of all, I've gone along and soaked all the bolts that we'll be removing, soaked them with WD-40, and then next we're going to use these stands here that I made up. They're going to bolt onto where the pillion passenger pegs were mounted, in those holes there. And what that's going to do is hold the bike up vertical for me while I jack up the front and put it on some stands, and then we can start taking the front end out. In the reassembly, I think I'll be leaving these covers off, these top and bottom covers for now. So I'm changing to a 15 weight oil, and just want to give it a run and see how it goes. And in the winter, in about 3 months time, this bike will be getting fully rebuilt, stripped down to the frame and reassembled. So at that point, if I'm happy with the oil, the 15 weight oil and so on, and I want to put the covers back on at that stage, I will. The headstock will be coming out, new bearings and so on, new wheel bearings and whatever, swing arm bushes and so on. But for now we're just going to try the 15 weight oil and see how it goes. So I'll get those stands put on, jack the front up, and then I'll be back. We'll get ready to start taking the fork legs out. So this is where we're up to. Just put these outrigger stands on at the back here, onto the pillion pegs, holes for the pillion pegs, just to hold it straight. We'll jack the front up. The stands I normally use when I work on front ends is here, but they don't quite work for this bike, so just have to prop it up with some wood. Alright, I'll get some of these bolts out, and then I'll bring you back again in a minute. I do apologise, I got a bit carried away. I forgot to keep you up to date with where we're at, but got both forks out. One of them I've drained the oil and put the fresh oil back in it and so on. It's ready to go back in. The other one I've drained the oil, but I just wanted to show you something. There was two different oils in there. In one fork leg you got this, which by the looks of it used to be green, but now it's grey and it's like water. And in the other fork leg we had this what used to be purple and now it's brown looking muck in there. So there was 500 ml of oil in the first fork leg, so that's what I put back in, and I measured it. It was probably just a little bit low, but you know, probably around about 170 instead of 165, around that mark. So a little bit low, but I think it'll be okay. And so I'm just going to measure this one now, see what we had in the other fork leg, and that's why I haven't put the one that I've finished, I haven't put it back in yet, in case we want to adjust the levels. I'll see what level this one had, and so I'll make a decision from there. But when I took the caliper out off the front end, I just zip tied it to the gear linkage, the gear lever there, and the speedo cable and so on. But yeah, it came out pretty easy. These things I've been wanting to take out for a while, because I like to be able to see what my fork seals are doing and that, and I didn't like this tapered looking one that was on the top. I didn't mind these ones that were on the bottom, but yeah, you can't see what's going on with your fork seals and so on with those things on there. Although they probably keep the weather out and so on, but you know, you don't know. I like to see what's going on, so I've taken them off for now anyway, and that way I'll see if we've got any leaks after we're finished doing this. But I'll measure this oil now and see what we got and get this other leg back together, and then I'll be back. When I approach a set of traffic lights and you're going along slow waiting for the light to change green, and if it doesn't change green for you and you have to stop, I noticed it always pulled to the right, and that was the fork leg that had oil in it that was like water. It was just like dirty water. I'll show you in the bucket here. That's the sediment of what come out of it. And here's both of the oils mixed together in here. One of them had a one of the fork legs had a seal replaced at some time, I'd say, and they didn't do both forks, they only did one, and that's just like sludge coming out of there. So one was relatively new, that was the red oil. It wasn't too bad, but what used to be the green oil, yeah, it was absolutely putrid. We're getting close now. Front wheels back on. Everything's buttoned up so far. It's only the caliper, the mudguard, and the speedo cable, and we're done. Okay, so she's all back together now. I'm going to take it for a test ride. I'll let you know how we get on. So here we are, back home now from our 200-kilometre ride, testing out the front forks. And yeah, I'm extremely happy with the way the bike handles. You know, a lot more confidence in corners and things like that. You can really lay into a corner now with it, and just the comfort going down the highway, and that there's no bounce or anything there. And when you're under brakes, and that I use a fair bit of front brake, and that there's no diving or anything like that. No leaks from the seals, and I think I'll leave these covers off now that I've taken them off, because now I've got somewhere better to put my tie down strap, where you couldn't put that there before, because you'd crushed the that hollow shroud. So that's a bonus. Just before I go, I just want to apologise for all the videos I've done in the past, and that the audio is not really good, and I don't have anyone to hold the camera, so I can't really film when I'm actually removing bolts and things like that, to show you in a bit more detail exactly what I'm doing. But if you have any questions, by all means leave a comment, or you can email me dozer3955@hotmail.com, and even if there's something that you want me to make a video of specifically, you know, I can do that too, so just let me know. And on a final note, this is another one of my homemade stands. This is the stand I'll be using when I do the rewiring and so on in later videos. As I mentioned earlier on, this bike's going to be fully rebuilt over the winter. It's going to get a different rear guard. I'm looking at something like maybe an XV650 or 1100 rear guard, or even a Sporty or something like that, or an original Speedmaster or America long guard. I just don't like the short type guard. I want something that wraps right around. Rear shock is complete rewire. There's nothing wrong with the wiring, I just don't like the way it's routed and where relays are mounted and all that. So the standard airbox will come out, and that'll make room for all the relays, everything that I want to do. Everything will be under the seat there, and it'll be just the wires running up to the headlight and so on. I'll be using this 5mm aluminium sheet inside there, and that's what I'll bolt all the relays and everything, fuse box and whatnot, onto there. So it'll all be tucked away under there. I don't use O2 sensors anymore. I unplug those and turn them off at the ECU, so there's two big plugs up there that can go. The air injection, all the associated wires with that, they can all go. The alarm and various other loose wires under there, they'll all be gone. And the coils, I'll possibly remount those too, because my aim is that whenever I want to lift the cam cover off, all I've got to do is remove the tank and the 4 bolts on the cam cover and lift it off. But the way that these things are wired from the factory, it's a bit hard. Your wires are in the way, and I don't like the way the loom runs through here either, where the throttle cables are and so on, and in behind there. It's just a much better way it can be done, so that's what I want to do. And at the same time we'll be getting new tyres, new headstock bearings, new wheel bearings, new swing arm bearings, and whatever else we can do along the way. Probably be switching over to all LEDs as well during the build. Got an LED rear light, this is the only LED one that's on there, but yeah, swap over to all LEDs. I want to keep the standard headlight, but I'll just turn it into an LED. So they're all videos that's coming up in the future, and hopefully I'll be able to get my audio sorted out and get someone to hold the camera for me while we do all this. So thanks for watching, guys, and safe riding.